Test, test.
We are live. Hello, everybody. This is Mike and Renell. We're here for another episode of The Amazing Alive Again. And my internet is alive again because it was dead for like 30 minutes.
Mike, when have we not done this show and not had a problem?
I haven't had an internet issue in like 3 weeks. So just before
I said both of us.
Yeah,
I'm talking both of us, dear.
Yeah, it's messed up.
When has it been when it's not been both of us?
Well, yeah, it's every
one
time,
or the other.
Time. Yep, at least one or the other. So, hi, everybody. So it is good to see you.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's between going in and out of the hospital, an apartment catching on fire and being trapped. Let's see, moving from the hospital to a healthcare facility, and then going over to my daughter's when my daughter's here. How's that one?
Yeah, that's a lot of movement. People have been asking after you, and it's even been hard for me to get a hold of you because you've been so all over the place. So
it's been horrendous. I also haven't had where my phone has been working because I had the phone with me when I left the apartment. I'm still processing this because I found out not yesterday, the day before. Do you know what the temperature was?
The day before.
I think I told you about this.
No, yeah, I don't remember.
3,000 degrees.
Huh?
True story.
Oh, in the fire.
In the room.
Oh man, I thought you were talking about the weather. So I was like,
yeah.
I don't know now. That doesn't sound
weather
right.
in the room, okay?
Okay.
Does that help you a little?
It does very much, actually. I appreciate your clarification. So
yeah, it was getting solar heat at a level of a toxic flame and smoke. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And, yeah. So I did pick a topic for today, Renell, and I haven't even talked to you about it. So I like this part because there's you're best when you're surprised. So
I hope so.
Let's hope. Anyway, what I put was overwhelmed. We are being overrun by information. Time to prioritize and find peace.
Trying to prioritize, find peace, decide what's most important. I call it the win situation.
Ooh,
and don't any of you use this without my permission. Because this one Renell came up with all by herself. It was one I sat down and figured out. And I call it what's important now. So it's what's important to you right now. Much like the house fire, I had seconds to make a choice. You and I talked about this.
Yeah,
the guy said if I had one guy came to visit and I'm working on forgiveness, Mike. I'm really working hard. This is a tough one.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame you.
Yeah,
because forgiveness is about you, not them. They deserve it, probably.
He said something very, 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 very stupid that really rocked me, made me angry, hurt. I actually said it was nice seeing you. Thank you for coming by, and scooted him out of the room because I was so upset. He basically said that if I had stayed in the room and had waited for the firemen, that nothing would have happened to me. That nothing upstairs would have happened.
You alluded to that on a previous show. and we had talked about it offline, but that's crazy. So
I think about it every day, and I'm trying really hard to allow it to be my motivation rather than my anger.
okay.
I'm proud of my kids. As you can see, they pulled some decorations. They know how much I love meditation. Can you see the little meditator up there?
Yeah, you got yoga poses going on. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see it.
little meditation. It's kind of cute. So that when
Yeah.
I open the window, they move. It's so they know how much meditation means to me. Because that's one thing that I learned about when I was on the other side was prayer and meditation go together. We often pray,
Yeah.
but then we forget the other half, which is meditation, and that
Which
can slip
includes
right
you
out of our
listening.
hand.
So like
Yeah,
a lot of times we pray and it's just a one-way communication to God, and you're
right.
sending up, of course he hears you, but are you hearing him?
And it does. It's not always. It's not always that we do it intentionally.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I find myself doing it a lot, and I think I notice I do it when I'm panicked or I'm scared and I'm concerned and I'm worried about what I'm going to do,
Mm-hmm.
how I'm going to make a living, what's going to happen to my life, that I
Yeah.
start reminiscing within my own head, that I forget that there's actually somebody listening. And it's hard. If I don't see your face on here, the idea that somebody in the old days used to sit behind a mic and talk into a mic to themselves, I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
I
You
knew,
mean before video?
Yeah, I grew up in broadcasting. I grew up in the LA area, and we were in a school where parents were in that industry one way or another. Some weren't. My father was a teacher and a contractor, and many people know Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins' father was a salesman, a traveling salesman. So not everybody else was, but ironically, the both of us ended up in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Goddard, who was all about space and rockets. I'm trying to remember his first name. Is it Robert Goddard?
I do not know. That seems like
He's the first one who sent rockets up in space.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a previous generation. So this is my
Thanks.
age, my young age showing. It's not cool.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for
No,
reminding me that.
I'm saying it's bad for me. I don't want to be some young whippersnapper.
Yeah, it makes me feel so young. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, man. I just put my foot in my mouth, people.
Remember, my age, I think you're old enough to be my son in reality. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, it is about
But
very close.
we get along so well that I asked Mike to do the show with me because, one, I knew it was part of his mission. And two, I knew I wanted somebody that I could talk to, that I could relate to and got along really well with, who had the same weird sense of humor that I do.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say twisted because I don't know that it's twisted, but different.
It's a little twisty.
Right?
Twisty-ish. Yeah.
Kind of strange.
Yeah, it is. And
hopefully
I'm okay with it. I like being who I am, I guess. I've been it for my whole life. I've been me. And
have I been me?
I haven't always liked being me, but there's many times that I do. So anyway.
It's really interesting because I was thinking about that yesterday, and then we need to get back on topic because I want to ask you some questions about that. But I watched da 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 dun dun da 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 dun da dun da dum. Does that ring a bell? Mutual of Omaha.
I have no idea what that is.
Da 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 dum dum da 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 dum da dum da dum dum. They used to play that right before the Walt Disney show, Sunday night family show.
Okay.
So there were only 3 channels. Boy, this really ages me. Back in the day, I think there was 3 major networks, and then Fox and a Spanish channel. And that's what we got on, at least on our TV. That's what I got.
Yeah.
To listen to. And so Sundays were really exciting because we got to listen to Mutual of Omaha's The Wild Animal Kingdom. And the other was, of course, Disney. But the reason I bring this up is because they would always go, and here we come upon a quiet, sleeping cheetah. And yes, in the dark, you can see a bison, quiet, approaching the water. Then suddenly, snap! The alligator.
Alligator.
They
don't make that noise, but
yeah, tears the bison into the
younger
water.
Generation right now, even younger than me, they're like, what, TV? Huh? Like you had to wait till the show was on? Huh? Like they didn't have it on demand. Like you can watch anything on demand now. It's like, yeah, I want it. I got it.
Or streaming. Or streaming. Or you can go back and listen. We couldn't even record it back in the day.
Yeah.
Can you imagine not being able to record a show?
Oh, I can, because that's how it was when I was in my younger years. Like I didn't get DVR till I was older, teenager.
Right. So so that helps me to reflect, because I was talking to my son today, and here in Utah, I was passing through Draper, and Draper used to be a cow town.
Mm-hmm.
And literally a cow town. It was a little corner end of the valley, and there was nothing there at that exit except for cows. There was a dairy there, and a lot of people would pull over to go over to the dairy and play with the cows and get fresh milk. Other than that, there were some new homes being built up on the bench, but there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There was the federal penitentiary right there at Point of the Mountain.
Yep.
Which now houses are being built upon. I am just stunned beyond words as I go by it, thinking
that all that empty space between Happy Valley and Salt Lake is just disappearing.
Gone. Yeah. And would I buy a house for $800,000 on top of land that for, I don't know, over 100 years was used as a state penitentiary? I mean, we do know, or at least I know for a fact, that things that are rocks, plants, things that are living do store energy, period.
They do.
We can cleanse it, but it's quite a process to get that energy to move on, because it leaves a marker or history. And could you imagine, like, the kind of crimes, and I remember some of the criminals that were arrested that went to that penitentiary,
mm-hmm.
Living and spending that kind of money to live on that land.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how desperate people are for land now here.
Yeah.
And
yeah, people
wasn't that long ago.
Many people are vacating cities. Not all of them, of course, but many people are, and they're coming out and filling out the rest of the nation. So I don't know how I feel about that.
And Utah in particular. I mean, my son, was talking to me. I remember a couple years ago, I think it was about 5 years ago before I moved down south, down to St. George. You know, they had said in 1 year alone that Salt Lake had grown 300,000, the population. I mean, for Salt Lake, that's unfathomable.
Yeah.
Now the numbers, I can't even imagine what they are now.
Yeah.
Because every time I turn around, something has grown, something new has come in, something has changed. The hospital I was in Highland, I knew where that was. I mean, if you were to ask me 5 years ago where that hospital was, yeah, I could point at it. But when I was in it, didn't have a clue. Had no idea that that hospital I was in was the same hospital I could have pointed to at one time.
Yeah, things.
So yeah, we're in information overload, and the question is,
yes,
is this good for our kids?
that
or not?
Is it good for us too?
Question.
The way I see it is we are being overrun by information, and we are looking at constant bombardment of mostly unimportant things.
Look at historically today what happened.
Yeah.
You know, Hezbollah and all those who were involved with the Palestinians off the Gaza Strip used not, in the old days they used to use tunnels underneath.
Yeah.
And today they used, these parachute type gliders.
Yeah.
To come in attacking. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought these little helicopters on your back, strapped on your back, would be used to begin to take over another country?
Yep.
Just even 2 years ago. Would you?
Right.
Would you do that?
I wouldn't have thought that 2 days ago. It's a weird way, but I mean, when they attacked, and so, I mean, that was today, and the response now, they declared war, Israel declared war against not Hezbollah. Hezbollah was the one that is up north, and it was shooting rockets down at the same time, but it was the ones that are in the, I can't believe
how many rockets have shot off? I keep itching my nose, that dust or that smoke. I opened up one of my boxes, big mistake. Holy cow, the chemicals are getting to me. Just that little bit of chemical from it. Sorry about that, guys.
Singing a song.
That's your daughter. Yeah. So, the question is, how long is this war going to be? A lot of people are saying it could be up to 2 to 3 years long. Considering, I want to know, how did they hide thousands upon thousands of rockets in that little space?
Yeah, well, that's been held there for a very long time. I mean, they've constantly been getting them for years and years and years. The really big surprising thing was the fact that they invaded. It wasn't just to kill and hurt and maim. They did that, but they were invading and purposely going into these towns and taking hostages, as well as, I mean, so it is very serious stuff. And so, the war.
Well, there's actually, I watched it. There are, 5 or 6 little communities right outside of Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
And just outside of Jerusalem.
Yep.
Do you know how historic that really is? And how much that fulfills prophecy?
Yeah, and it likely is fulfillment of prophecy in one way or another, or the beginning of it.
Yeah, and people are not clearly aware of how serious this war really is.
Because of the information overload.
Yep,
It used to
because
be that
this one
this would have
will
been
bring
talked
along.
about. This would have been talked about on every station constantly. It would have been like a huge deal. But now, I bet you the younger generation doesn't even realize what's going on. I mean, at least the vast majority of them.
And it's
And
changing hourly. That's
yeah,
what's so weird about this war, is it's changing hourly. That's frightening. And yet, you're right. There's how many channels? I was at my daughter's for that little while, and she had over 200 channels.
oh yeah, that's the basic package now.
200 channels.
Yeah,
I
and
just
then
went,
you have the entire internet. There's so
how do
much
you keep
stuff.
track of it?
That's
How
the
do
thing
you?
I wanted to say. You can't. It's about it. My wife asked me this question today, and that's what prompted me to think through it. And really, what you have to do is, when you're overwhelmed, because it's not just the information overload, it's also the requirements and the of life that we have to just get through with inflation and the way that things are in the world right now. I mean, that's just in the US. We have it somewhat easy compared to other places, but we
Really do.
we are having to, like, the middle class is losing ground. We're falling. Like, we're having a tough time in our everyday life. So we become overwhelmed and so fixated on just surviving that
Well, who would
then
have
the
thought that we
information
would
comes in.
get?
What's true? What's true?
Yeah, who would have thought that we'd get that close to paying $5 a gallon?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
it
not.
seemed to me, I mean, maybe I'm old, and I am, and I admit it, but it wasn't all that long ago when I was going to college that I remember seeing 69 cents a gallon
Yeah.
posted at the gas station.
Well, shoot, when I was 17 or 18, the Bush years, there was a time period where they had opened up the gas, like, spigot, and it was down to 80 cents in Georgia. And that was insane.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
when you
So, I
think
mean,
about
that's
it,
within my
and you're young,
generation.
yeah, you're the age of what would be my son.
Yeah.
So to think that's not that long ago. We're not talking 100 years ago. We're not talking 20 years ago. We're not talking that long ago.
Yeah. No, not that long. And I think
It,
everyone
it's
feels the pain except for those that are ultra rich. Everyone feels the strain and the stress that is being put on the system, and in so many ways. And so the information overload also comes into it at that point. And so my wife had said that, or asked that question, and how can you not be overwhelmed, and how can you find peace? And
how do you
so
find peace?
there was
Here's
three
something
things
I'm
that
going to
popped in
say.
my mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead first.
Okay. So there were three things that popped in my head right away. And it was, you need to know your limits personally and as a group or family. And then you need to prioritize and
Okay.
prioritize things based on that. And then you find peace through those things. That's the goal, is to find peace in the end,
Well,
along with all these things that pull at you. And so those three steps, there's a lot more to each one, but those three steps are the thing that I responded with. And I think that it was I felt that was a very positive thing to bring up tonight.
I
And I
think
can go
that's
into
a great
detail,
idea.
but go ahead.
If I'm losing you a little bit. I
Oh, you
don't
are?
know why. And it's because I'm losing light. Can you see that? And I don't know why I'm losing light. But you know what? You and I talked about it. I don't think it's just because you and I have struggles every single week, which we do. But I also think that Satellites are getting used right now for what's happening out there, you know. So I think because when you think the level of, you talk about information overload, think about this. The information was so heavy out there that they were able to hide the information.
Yeah. That's been going on
Think
for
about
years
that.
now. Yeah.
They were able to hide the information of the attack because there's so much information.
Yep. And I
That's
think we
like,
all experienced that during the COVID lockdowns, the information and everything. It was just, and even before that, we can't get straight answers.
yeah, it's like
Nothing
throwing
is
a tennis
direct.
ball in the sea and trying to
Yep.
find it, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so this was their advantage. This was their advantage, and they took every bit of it. And we're now having to tackle it. When we send our kids to school, what are we actually aware of as far as what that teacher is teaching
Yeah.
our children? What do we really actually know? What do we really, what's important to your child's well-being in the long run?
If that's a question for me, it's stability in family and love. And so, I mean, it's not data and facts that I want them to learn. I want them to learn life skills, not just how to survive, but how to live in a way that is joyful, that is fulfilling. And so
I
that's what
call
I
it
want them
life
to learn.
skills. Yeah, the basic essentials of the WIN formula for my family and for my kids has always been, okay, guys, what is the most important thing for you right in this moment? I don't want to know what you need tomorrow for school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know what you need in 10 years, 5 years. If you're going to come and yell at me and get upset and so did this and so did that, tell me right now what's important and fill me in with all the information.
Yep.
Give me the information about what's going on so that I can make a clear decision, or at least a clear, because with my kids
Path
it was more
forward,
intimate.
direction. Yeah.
Direction, yeah, or discussion.
Yeah.
Now you can't have a discussion with your kids because you don't know what they're exposed to at school.
Yep. And a lot of times the education system has started to, in some cases, pit the family against the school system and push back. Like, we've had to push back as parents, and what's in the best interest for the children, I mean, in general, is going to be with the family. And it's not always that easy, right? It's not always that simple. And
if you don't think the government's not going to push it, why do you think they said, school members should be carrying a gun?
Yeah, there were some that
school board members carrying a gun. Whoa, wait a minute. School board, the way I remembered it, which was not that long ago, we're only talking 8 or 9 years ago, was, okay, academically, what is in the best interest of my child? What are you teaching my child?
Yeah.
What do I need to know as a parent? What kind of discipline is happening inside the classroom? Is my child learning in a safe environment?
Yeah.
And just simple academic questions. But the idea that I have to worry about that person sitting behind the counter wearing a gun, and I have to worry about what I and how I pose my question, or that even I have the right to say something, that puts us at a disadvantage.
Yeah, that alone. Yeah, I mean, there's discussion to be had with, the gun debate by itself, but as far as the education, you're right. The the power dynamics within the school system is corrupt in many aspects. And it's happened to us very quickly, and it was deliberate. And you can see it in a lot of the things that have been pushed back upon in the school systems, the things that parents are pushing back on in some areas. Some places they're not. But
here's gonna be what's gonna become even more frightening. And we have to really think about this honestly as parents and as grandparents, because most grandparents are raising their grandkids. I don't know if you're aware of that.
There's a lot of them. Yeah.
I mean, outside of Happy Valley, in places in California, New York, Denver, Chicago, I can't even.
Your sound cut out. I don't know if you can hear me. I think it is. You're not muted, so I think it's a.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are. I can hear you now. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Isn't this been insane?
Yeah.
And it is an information overload, because I know that we are using the air, the frequency in the air that used to be in a fiber optic in the ground.
At least,
and how much of our body is
the end point. The way that it works with the wireless is the end point of the information that comes out, the internet and whatnot. It does all travel through that fiber optic line to get where it needs to go, but then it comes out into the cell phone towers and goes everywhere.
Cyberspace.
And it's everywhere, held on these hard drives, and then it gets sent, and the information just gets sent back and forth, bytes, bits, megabytes, all of it. So yeah, it's a ton. And the way I see it is and I want to lean on the part of being overwhelmed mentally and emotionally as well with all of the difficulties that our generations are dealing with versus previous. It's different now than it has been in generations
Absolutely past. Why do you think our kids are so stressed?
Yeah.
What do you think the kids are so stressed?
Yeah. So, I mean,
we haven't taught them. Do you know that 50% of the kids who graduate can't even read?
There are, startling numbers. I don't have experience in the areas that don't have.
It's funny because I did this research. It's funny how in tune we are together, because today, I'm an author. And it's funny because my daughter says, "Oh, well, now you finally have the last chapter of your second book with this house fire, right?"
Yeah.
And I thought about it and I went, well, wait a minute. It used to be that kids could read my book. And I did that on purpose so that children would have a quality of reality, but not so traumatic that they would go home and be traumatized, but actually encouraged to do better with their lives.
Yeah.
That it would be an inspiring book, and so now thinking about this next book and thinking about this podcast, I thought, okay, wow, how many kids now? It was geared where a 12-year-old could read the book.
Yeah.
And then I looked up online all day yesterday and the day before. Okay, what are kids learning in schools today? What really are in the classrooms?
Yeah.
What are the classes they're taking? Why did my grandson struggle so much? It wasn't just him. There were 3 other boys, but I mean, that's a lot. That all happened in 6 months. And so what is the pressure? what is causing so much out there that these kids can't even handle the weight well. It's all the information we're expecting them to hold.
Yeah. And not giving them not getting I think that's important it's important for many parents to instill in their children the ability to cope with these things and to deal with it and to be able to move forward in life. And I think many are doing a good job, but that's not the majority. The majority are having a hard time with their own life. And there's so much required of us for work just to keep up and to try just to survive, that it's difficult and we have less time. And so that
Right. I don't know how young families like you and your wife do it. I mean, you guys have had to move clear north to be able to afford a home.
Yeah.
Down here, you know what rent goes for?
Oh,
Rent.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The new low is $2,100 a month.
Yep.
Who the heck, when you're starting out, can afford $2,100 a month?
Nobody without their parents' help.
And then you got
and not everybody has
immigration that is filling up hotels in New York downtown, and some of the most posh areas of Fifth Avenue of hotels being filled with migrants who get free food, free housing, free electricity and gas. Oh, and get this, they even get free laundry. Free laundry.
That'd be nice.
Hey, sign me up.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really have to try, and they're smack dab, and they have no intention on leaving the hotels.
Many don't.
I don't see why any of them would. They're right there in Times Square and right smack dab in the middle of New York.
Yeah.
And I'm astounded. They get the rooms cleaned every day.
Yeah, and I don't want to paint such a broad brush over all of the migrants. You're looking at these. Many are coming over. The majority of them aren't people that are trying to give to society, or they're just trying to get away, right? And they're trying to escape. And so, I mean, I'm not blaming them specifically, but there is the whole system is being broken by those facts. And
but
not
you
just
cannot,
that, there's many parts to it.
It's a breakdown of the family. It's a breakdown of the middle class. What it is.
But it's not, the thing with the family is, and I'll put this out there because I'm very much in this fight. The family itself has been under attack for years, but the new generation is being completely overwhelmed by all of these things that don't matter. And it's being put in them and put over them, and it's causing a lot of problems and getting in between parents and their children. Put that in with the fact that families are breaking apart and all of that. It's a very difficult environment to parent. And when it's a losing scenario, because the whole situation is pulling. That's the biggest part we have, is because we know how to parent our kids. We've become relatively good at it, and we're trying. We're not amazing, but we are loving, and we do a good job. But
think about this. When in society have we ever had dishwashers to do our dishes, washers to wash our clothes, chemicals to clean our toilets that we can have them indoors? We don't have to trench outside to go find the toilet.
Yeah.
We have every modern convenience. We have an iron, that irons our clothes.
Yep.
We have everything at our availability that we need to even get in the car and not have to pull a map out. Remember the random McNally maps?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean, ask the
vaguely, it
kids
was
to know how
before
to
my
read a
generation.
map.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me.
It is. And, back in the day, it would be our kids that would be doing a lot of that work physically as well. They would be doing it along with us. And so this whole system of babying or being extra soft to our kids, but at the same time, completely distracting them from what's important. So it's a double-edged sword. And we're looking at the pain of dealing with that information overload with the kids and them being separated from us for longer and longer and longer periods of time. And
then there are those who are trying to make up the difference, have tons of kids, who are really trying to be good parents, and to their own credit, came into the country as immigrants and are doing fantastic. But still, the kids are suffering. The kids are suffering.
Yeah.
The parents have learned, but the kids are still struggling. How are they going to do it?
I don't know. I'm not sure the parents have learned many of these things. That even my generation is having a difficult time coping with what's happening in our world, mostly because the world has changed so dramatically. We weren't raised to deal with these things. My dad's generation, they didn't raise us to live in this world. They raised us to live in a different world. They raised us to live in the world that they knew. And that was the start of the disconnect. And so it's been going on for 3 generations. Generation X, Generation Y, and Generation Z. All 3 generations. It's been a constant issue. And so it's a problem.
We don't need schools to not only babysit our kids, but teach them morality. And, we're not allowed as parents to say, gosh, we don't want our kids learning this. We really don't want our kids learning that. That's nice that you do that in the privacy of your home, but please don't teach that to my child.
Yeah.
And yet we're so overloaded ourselves. When are we supposed to take a breath and say no?
Yeah. When are we supposed to go protest? We can't.
Really?
We are forced to work. We have to work so hard just to survive. And it wasn't always like this. That's the thing. That's the rub, is that society was built in a way that supported one another and helped the kids grow. And now it's become so automated and
right. It was a community that raised kids.
Yeah.
Now you can't trust the
parents
community.
did, but that you could trust the community, and you were raising kids along with them because they had them too. And so
because I remember going to my friend's house. We called when we got there. I grew up in LA, so of course we had to. Mm-hmm. But Mom knew where I was. Mom knew I was safe. I could hang out at so-and-so's house. I could walk home with so-and-so.
Yeah.
But now, at least for my last kids, I had to pick them up from school. And when I picked them up from school in Florida, my kids would have to go through this group of, brushes, like, bushes between myself and the car. And I mean, they were getting literally drugs pushed in their faces for free. Just to get them hooked. And then there was the principal who would get so mad, if you pulled up in front of the school, but she was a centerfold for not Playboy, but one of the more hardcore nude magazines.
Oh my!
The centerfold.
You said the word magazine. That
Yeah, that's all I
that
need to
people
say.
that was a device that was used for the reading of material or looking at pictures. In this case, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
it's like right at the tip of the hands.
yeah, it is, and not only that, it's pushed at them much of the time. So I mean,
It's pushed.
the way I see it as, and I wanted to get to and explain some of the things that I've learned in this generation of where I live as a millennial or Generation X. I was right in the middle, and kind of just
Wow.
throw it out there.
Okay.
The only way that we found to be able to survive and to be able to try to teach our children and to have time and space and emotional stability enough to be able to do so was by basically these 3 steps that I explained earlier. You know, we need to know our limits personally. We tend to push so hard to try and accomplish our goals that we forget what's most important. And I think everyone can understand, you know, that happens. It happens to all of us. Then
And for me, I can tell you when you're talking about the most important, back in the day, we knew our purpose. We knew our mission. We knew where we were going.
yeah,
Or at least we had an idea. You know, we were being, given opportunity to at least look at opportunities.
yeah,
But we had a somewhat of a sense of meaning and purpose.
yep,
We're not teaching kids meaning and purpose for
no.
anything.
As a society, we're teaching them how to become work ants, how
When I
to
had this,
and not healthy ones.
yeah, when I had this last third near death in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that disturbed me when I came back into my body was how many souls were wandering around me. And I'm talking adult souls that never made it to the waiting place. And,
Because they
and
didn't know the direction, or how does that work?
no, it's because, how do I explain this? It's because they didn't know any better place. Their life and their life's choices. We think we're going to do something suddenly very different when we see the light of heaven, or we feel the light of heaven, and it's just not true.
We are who we are, and we are who we
And
become.
and we think something's going to be so completely different over there.
Some
And
things will
this is
be,
really,
but
oh, they
yeah,
will if we're open. And dang it, that's what this is for. Dang it, that's why I started this. And I've been speaking for years, and this is why we are getting so beat down. Is I don't want to just talk about somebody's death experience. The reason we died and came back is because, medical medicines and technology has allowed us to bring people back from the brink of death.
yeah.
But nobody's taught us, well, what do you do once you come back from the brink of death? And who's going to believe you when you do?
Yeah.
We made a dent, or I'd like to feel myself, led the way as well as Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and Dr. Kenneth Ring and some of the original people. We made a dent.
Yeah.
But now the next step needs to be, okay, well, explain to me why the divorce rate is 90% amongst near-death experiencers.
From my understanding, because the relatability chain, like you've experienced something that they completely haven't. So you've changed.
It's a priority. It's a shift of priority.
Okay. I like that.
It's when it's when
like it, but...
yeah, it's when how do I say this? The things that we thought were so important turn out to be so petty. And the things we work so hard for, those things are so fleeting.
Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong, they're important. I don't know that I've cried more this week than I have in a very long, long time. Losing everything down to soap, toilet paper, clothing, underwear, or even a brush, or a pillow to put your head on. Mike, the greatest gift you gave me, the greatest gift you and your wife gave me when you came to see me in the hospital was a pillow.
Yeah, we did.
And it still is. It's still my greatest gift is this pillow. I have literally got this thing setting on right now because it's all I've got. I could show you my closet. I won't right now because I'm just starting to unorganize it. It's a little bit of, but it's not very much. It's really sad how very little I have because everything.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it would be. I mean, I think that us and me and the listeners that hear this, they've wanted to step in and help, but there's just only so much. Like we have to get the information to them, and there's been some disconnects there because you haven't been in one place. You've been around 6 different places.
I know that you can reach me on Venmo.
Okay, we need to get that information. I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, put it under Renell 2, not 1.
Okay. Well, I'll get it from you after because I want the whole thing so I can make sure it's correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking around and it's just super sad. I had to go buy myself a blanket. And when I have to get up and stand a little bit because my legs hurt so bad from being in that hospital bed for so long.
Yeah.
And then the anxiety and the pain is so great right now. And I'm not going to lie to you. This house fire really doubled my pain levels. I thought it was bad before.
Yeah.
Now it's to a level I can barely. I'm hoping that this stops at some point soon, where it's not hurting as much.
Right. I hope so too.
But it's just. I can show you right here. Here, I'll turn this around. I'm so grateful. My daughter-in-law made this for me.
Oh, that's nice. That's great. I love it.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah,
the family tree.
Yeah.
Tree of life. And the feathers. She knows how much those white feathers mean to me. Because I'm really about the sacredness of the ancient Native American teachings about angels that fly among us. And it wasn't that they actually had feathers. A lot of people think that. It was representative of freedom of flight. But the beads for the fruit of the tree. But I mean, this is it. What you're seeing is my life right here. This is it.
And then what you won't show us in your closet, your clothes.
Oh, well, okay. If you want to see, that's it.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, everybody,
There.
this just got pretty explicit. You're seeing a closet here. Okay.
You're seeing a full closet of clothing there.
Yep.
One dress and a few coats.
Yeah.
So, but I'm grateful for that. And I did a no. I think I told you about this. I was at the store yesterday, and they were the florist was going out of business at that particular store. And I did something that, so when I was wealthy and well off, I had flowers in my house every single week. I had to have the colors of life and flowers around me because of my near death. And here was this huge bundle of red roses, 3 dozen red roses. I had $10 to my name. $10. And guess how much those 3 dozen plus they added 5 more. Guess how much they were?
I know the story, so I'm not going to answer. That's unfair.
Yeah, it was $10. This is it.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and yes, it will only last about a week. But I can't tell you how much joy these flowers have brought me. You know, Mike?
Yeah, I do. You explained it to me. I was, you want and need beauty in your life. That's
I needed to feel alive.
Yeah.
I needed to feel like I'm not dying on this planet of just not feeling life anymore. Or seeing life anymore.
And a connection with who you think you were and are, that a normalization, right? Like,
well, yeah. And on the other side, when you have a near-death experience, we need to be teaching our kids to appreciate things like simple things like flowers.
Yeah.
Stopping and enjoying the caterpillar as it walks by. Why aren't we doing that anymore, Mike?
Well, my daughter did yesterday. She was out playing with the caterpillars. Yeah, it's just something that comes with the kids and the wonder that they have in their minds and their hearts. They want wonder. They have very interested in the world, and so it warms my heart when I see that. But you're right; it's not the norm. It's not like
we're not doing the norm, and if the parents are so busy that we're not doing it with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the saddest part is we're not doing it with them anymore. We're not having that fun.
Continually being separated. Yeah. And
yeah.
The second thing along with this was the priorities, right? Understanding your limits is key. That's the first thing you need to know and understand that you are not going to be able to take on everything that is thrown in front of you because everything is being thrown in front of you. You simply just do not have that kind of energy or ability. We get tired, all that stuff. And so finding that out is very important. But as you were saying, when we talk about priorities, it needs to be.
And what are we going to do? Mike, you and I are at a point where we both have disabilities.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest about my situation. And I mean, I can barely sit a certain amount of time without the pain just so excruciating. I can't bear it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it for us.
Yeah.
And yet I'll tell you what, the adversary has fought tooth and nail with us just to do this very little thing with this show. I mean, the only thing that's left for us to be able to provide for ourselves and our families, and it seems like it's a struggle.
Yeah. And
it seems so painful.
Yeah. It especially seeing your situation. And so I I take.
Am I wrong, Mike?
No, you're not wrong. This has been a crazy 2 months. And I am.
I'm not going to give up.
No,
I'm
me
not
either.
a giver up.
I don't care. I'm going to keep going. But that's, I look at it, and I had a lot of time to think over these last years because I have been in a disabled state. And so I haven't been able to work. And so I had to come to a understanding with myself that there was only so much that I could do to understand the limits that I have in my life, which everyone needs to understand that they do have limits to what they can accomplish or the energy that they have. So you need to prioritize, and you need to prioritize towards not success. That's good. Get success. But you need to be successful on the things that are most important to you and be mindful of them. So peace would be the number one thing that I think each of us need.
And not everybody's going to be a billionaire. Let's get real about that.
No, not everyone's going to be able to even afford homes, and like there's a lot of suffering and pain and things that are out there and things that are in our future too. So I just see
I don't have a car. I can't get a driver's license, Mike. My driver's license burnt up.
Oh.
All my paperwork is gone. This is not going to be easy.
No, it's going to be a fight every second to push forward. And so peace is really the point I wanted to focus on, because
now that's the next level we need to get to, because that's really the only thing that Satan can't duplicate.
Yes.
Satan cannot duplicate peace.
Your pain might get lessened and might get better, right? But you're still going to be in pain. I'm in pain every day. It's very, very similar. I just am probably less. That part doesn't really matter, but we are, those things are not going to just go away. So we have to find peace in the difficulty. We have to find light in the difficulty, which is why I look at those flowers and it doesn't make me think, oh, she's wasting her money, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case.
Some people do. Some people will judge me for it.
I know they will. But see, I do not, because I know that brings you joy and peace when you see the beauty. And each of us needs to know what are those things that we really care about. And we need to put those first. It might mean that you can't get a second car. It might mean that you aren't able to succeed in your business as much as you want to. And I'm not trying to judge people for putting too much into work, because I get it. We just need to survive. But there has to be some intentional thinking when it comes to our priorities and finding peace and teaching our kids how to find peace, because the world is
that's the key. I saw your daughter, and I never have seen a child so happy just to sit there. She hardly knows me. I don't think she may have even met me that I
she
remember.
hadn't met you in person. No, she hadn't until that day when I came to the hospital with her.
And she sat there in peace and joy. And I mean, how many kids could sit there patiently in peace and joy? And an old lady in a bed that pretty probably smelled bad.
Yeah, what, 12 years? She's 12, and so.
And she was happy.
She was. And I see it. And I see it in all of my kids in different levels, different degrees. And some of them come down come to our earth with different, they're different. So some of them, it's easier to find than others. But
I hate to say down, because there's something that needs to be changed. That's a Catholic, Catholic teaching. There is nothing up in the sky.
Mm-mm. Well,
It's here
yeah, it's all here.
in another dimension.
Yep. Yes.
We just keep saying, somehow, we keep saying heaven is someplace up, hell is somewhere down. And when we come here, we come from someplace up there here. And it's not true.
Well, not in the sense of there was some point where we existed elsewhere, right? Because we've existed forever. But
oh yeah, eons upon eternities away.
Yeah.
But when
But
we came
this-
to our father and mother,
yeah,
we were here.
yeah, this place was,
Home.
and that's where we go. And so, yeah, you're right on that point. I see it as each one of them is born into this life with their own personalities, and we have to cherish those and try to guide those, the good parts, and teach them. But there's nothing more, and this has been a priority in my life these past probably 7 to 10 years. We have to teach them how to find peace. I find peace through Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I find peace through, he's number one for me. But that doesn't mean that he's the only way. He's put so many things in this world that can allow us to find peace. But we aren't going to get there if we don't have our priorities straight. And we definitely need to know where our limits lie. Because if we don't, we will end up overworking ourselves and being too stressed out in our minds to be able to make the intentional decision to teach our children what the important things are.
Or that they're going to see so many tragedies in the days ahead, and they are. Ooh. See,
We're
I just saw
a lot of them. But it's going to go. Yeah, go ahead.
I have to tell you this. I just saw somebody walk by. Literally walk by through the walls. They walked by my door and walked right through the wall. And I have to be okay with just talking this out loud because our kids are going to see that.
Yeah.
Our grandkids are going to see that.
It's becoming more as we get
prevalent.
Yeah, towards the end. So everybody, so you know, Ronell has the gift of sight and I guess the curse of it too, to a degree, in some ways.
Big time.
But that she can see and interact in a lot of ways with the other side, not as a medium or anything, but as a fellow citizen in the world, because the people that have passed on still exist here, and so that's something I want to make sure that people aren't confused that you're talking about people walking through walls right now.
Like I've been wanting to tell you, Mike, your dad has been with me the last 2 days, nonstop.
That's wonderful.
Nonstop.
I definitely want to talk to you about that. So
it's been really cool. He keeps reminding me of the night that we spent walking in the labyrinth.
Yes.
That labyrinth is really fascinating. It's divided into male and female, and it's interesting because as each turn you make to get to the center of the labyrinth, it's a level of change within yourself and character change. And I hope you don't mind me sharing this. Do you mind me sharing what happened that night?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Are you okay?
I am, yes.
Because I don't know how much your mom remembers or not, but your dad was struggling at one point, and I wouldn't let him get past that point till he figured it out. And if I recall, I think he was at the north side of the labyrinth, and I said, until you see what you need to see and understand it, you can't go forward. And it's easy at night to get lost on that labyrinth too.
Yeah.
It was funny because he kept getting lost and kept showing up at the exact same spot. And of course, your mom whizzed through it like beep, 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 when she was in the center. Because I do these workshops with families, by the way, for people who don't know, and I do them for individuals as well. And they're very active, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They're proactive. It changes your life.
Yeah, it did. It did us in a lot of ways.
So your mom,
some more than others.
Yeah. It's been wonderful to see a lot of families come through and watch their lives profoundly change. And then people who go through it all and still make poor choices, you know, or give up too soon.
Yep.
And the object is not to give up. No matter how many times your dad could not get past that point. I love that he was teaching all of you, I'm going to keep going back until I figure this out so I can get past this ridiculous corner. He was not going to give up. But I thought, I remember getting a very strong impression that night. And I think your mom even asked, or I don't even know how it came about. But we talked about your dad's death. And she asked how soon. And I said, very.
And I haven't talked to my mom to know if she even remembers.
Yeah.
I need to, but yeah, and he did. So it was only 3-4 years after that. 3 years.
So, you know, God has given me these gifts, obviously not for my financial benefit, because I should be wealthy beyond words. Seeing into the future, I should be able to say, hey, I know what to invest in.
Yeah, you'd think. But no.
Yeah. The tablet that I'm sitting here talking to you on, I saw before computers were even thought of. You know, other than the tabletop computers. But the laptops weren't out even yet.
Wow.
You know, they were the thick, heavy ones, but they weren't the kind you could carry anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was at a book convention. I said to my husband, I said, see that book? Because it was black, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you know in the old days when kids used to learn on slate? I said, the day's going to come when all of our education and everything we learn and everything we think we're going to learn is going to come from the slate that we're going to carry with us everywhere. We're going to be so addicted, we'll be more addicted to it than our own children.
I think many people can attest that is the case.
I can attest, because when I ran out of the house fire, it's the only thing I grabbed. I don't know why. What a dumb thing to run and save.
I mean,
help me with that.
Yeah.
I'm so. What was I thinking?
Well, we see it as the connection to our world. So really, I do understand why. I agree with you that the priority there probably should have been a little more terrestrial.
Thought out.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm
had time to think.
Right? I'm the one who came up with Stop, Drop, and Roll and Education Week. And by the way, since this is October, everybody remember what?
Stop.
This is the time we need to sit with our families and teach them about Stop, Drop, and Roll. Okay. And we need to teach them fire prevention and burn prevention. Because when that time comes, we do panic. I know.
Yeah.
Because I just experienced it, and All I grabbed was an empty purse and a tablet. I'm still laughing while all my money burned and everything else burned.
Well,
and honestly,
I think
it's all going to happen to all of us. I'm just saying it right here, right now, a prophecy that the time is going to come very soon where I'm not going to be the only burn survivor.
yeah, I believe that. And you don't mean the only burn survivor, because there are others, but you mean that it's going to be more prevalent.
More than you can ever imagine.
I don't want to imagine. Uh-oh. That was very upsetting. We lost her. Huh. Well, I, for one, am hoping that we don't all burn. But I do want to point out and say, before we end here, and hopefully maybe she'll get back on, but that we are in a time of great distress in family life, in all of our lives. I think we all see the changes that have happened over these past years. And so she is getting back on. Yay. There we are. Let me just finish my thought real quick.
Okay, go for it.
This perilous time that we're actually in, we do have to remember that this stress and these things that we feel inside as adults, we have to try and minimize that, putting down to our kids.
Do not share
At the
it.
same time, more importantly, I think, teach them how to deal with the stress in their lives. And I think the only way is by teaching how to find peace through pain, peace in chaos, or peace in good. So that peace is key to being able to move through the world as we move forward in this world, because it will get more difficult, as difficult as it
Or
is
hope.
now. Yeah.
Finding hope.
Finding hope.
We find peace through hope.
Yeah. And vice versa. I think we find hope through having peace. I think they go together, and I believe faith is in there too. It's involved with the whole deal.
They're all action words, aren't they?
Yeah, I do believe that specifically the hope and peace, and they're not going to have hope if they don't have peace.
I never dreamed that I would be in the fire again.
Yeah.
Did I tell you what happened the day I got ready to leave?
No.
I didn't tell you. Then we should close this.
Okay, we'll close on this.
This is so funny. So let's talk about peace for a moment. So here I am getting ready to leave the rehab hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want me to shower and everything. And I'll tell you, get ready, because you don't want to die that way. You don't want your last days in one of those places. It's really disgusting. I mean, the nurses are wonderful and all that, but oh my gosh. Yeah, lice, and I don't want to get into it too much, but it's pretty bad. Yeah. But they wanted me to shower before I went home, which is brilliant. Get rid of everything and take a shower. So that's what I did, is I got rid of everything I could before I came home. And so I got in the shower. There was a nurse standing next to me, and I'm almost to the point of being completed. I have shampoo in my hair. I feel like the snowman, all soaked up. And guess what happens?
I know this, actually.
You do remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It was
the fire alarm went off. Mike, the freaking fire alarm goes off. I'm standing there naked in a shower. This reminded me of my first book.
You're in the clothes that God gave you, and you're sitting there. So what did you do?
And so all the nurses are running up and down the hallway. We got to get out of here. And I said, what am I supposed to put on? You threw it in the bin. There's no clean clothes for me to put on. There's only this skinny little towel. What do you want me to do? I can't run out in the hall naked.
No.
She goes, well, we can't stay in here. And I said, sure, there's water. That was a dumb thing to say, But I couldn't believe it. I said, how often do you guys have these fire practices? Like, did you do this on purpose before I'm leaving or something? Was this a joke? Were you guys having fun with me? I mean, ha ha ha. I get the joke now. Can we stop? And she goes, no, this is the real thing. And I said, what do you mean this is the real thing? No, this is a real fire alarm. The fire alarm went off. We have to leave. Naked? Like naked?
Please help me. There is a problem here.
Yeah, I don't want to scare everybody, okay? This is gonna scare people. You know that show, What About Mary? Remember that movie? And the old lady?
No.
Yes. I'm thinking, what about Mary? What about me? I'm gonna scare everyone. And she goes, well, I'll get you a towel. She comes and grabs a hand towel, a paper one.
Huh?
Yeah, you know the kind that you push on the machine?
Oh, yeah, I get it. But I mean, huh?
Yeah, yeah, she made a big enough size for my hoo-hoo-hoos in the front and my hoo-hoo-hoo on the bottom. And that's all I was given. And I ran out in the hallway with her as everyone's running and trying to get patients out of the room. I said, this can't be my life. This can't be my life. Mike!
I don't know what to say, because I just heard you say woo-hoo-hoo. And I don't know what that,
the double hoo-hoo
I know
sisters.
what you mean, I think, but I mean.
Oh, come on. The sisters upstairs, these ones in between.
Yeah, I mean, nobody, I can't believe they didn't get you like another gown or something. I mean, that's crazy.
No gown. They were disgusting. They were wet in this big dirty bin. So they weren't, and some of those patients don't exactly, they kind of poop in their pants at night, they have an incontinence problem,
Yeah.
I think I'm saying that right. Incontinent?
Yeah.
Incontinent.
So. Yeah.
So, they had incontinent all over my robe. And so, there was no robe to put on me. And so she's like, I don't know what to do. This is all I can help you with. But
maybe
we have to get out of
that
here.
Was on your bed?
No, this is this is even worse. So this facility has 300 patients, and they're going to hate me for this. There are only 2 working showers.
Yeah.
No joke. 300 beds and only 2 working showers.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Welcome to life.
Yep.
And I bring this up because as I panicked wearing paper hoo-hoos for my hoo-hoos.
Yeah.
And running around for my ha-ha hoo-hoos.
Yeah.
And my tatas. Yeah, that's it. It was for my tatas.
Did you just say tatas?
Yes. I think that's okay to say. Paper tatas.
Paper tatas. Okay, I will allow it.
Is that okay? I would use the family-friendly stage still.
Well, I think we might be, because you were tatas in a facility. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
an emergency.
you were the
It
one that had
wasn't
to
like
run out that way.
I had to run out that way
Yeah.
in front of men and women and nurses. And they wanted me to run outside that way. I'm like, is this how it's going to end? Is this how the story is going to end? So I want to ask each listener tonight, what is your ending? Really, listen to it, and what is your ending?
How
Because
do
that was
we understand and know what our ending is? You mean look to when our end is?
when is what story, what is it that you want your world, if things are going to repeat, if patterns are repeatable, mathematically repeatable, obviously,
Yeah.
and what is it you want repeated? And if it's not in its right fitting, what do you need to do to change it, to get where you need it to change
Yeah.
the story?
That is the reality of having to laser focus in and recognize that right now is the best time. This moment is the best time to think through it, to think about what you want that ending to look like. Now, you're not going to be able to necessarily choose how it ends, right? Or whatever, but what's going to be repeated through your children, through the people that you talked to and that you were active in their lives. And
I don't want my kids running out in the hallways with tatas. Paper
no,
tatas.
no, I don't want no paper tatas.
No paper tatas on the bottom or on the top tops.
No, we don't want that. So, I mean, I see it and I'm like, we're not talking about an individual moment here. We're talking about what do you want your life to mean?
Right.
And so I believe that understanding our limits and prioritizing what we need to do to find peace and to teach our children how to find peace.
Right.
And to learn that process, because crappy things are going to happen. You're going to have to run through hallways with your tatas. Okay? Things like that happen in life, and things that are bad happen. But how do we respond? How do we find peace through that? That is the key to happiness in life. Right there. And so I am passionate about this, but prioritizing your life in a way that leads your children and you to peace is the key. And I believe that
Peace.
to be
Real
peace,
peace.
real peace. And I believe that to be through Jesus Christ myself. But it doesn't,
Absolutely.
yeah. But he didn't just die for people that believe in him. And so there
Right.
is peace to be found in everybody's life. And this is just a principle, I think, of eternity, is that we need to find that peace in chaos. And
Right.
so I think that no matter where and what you believe, I think this can be one eternal truth that you can try and lean on. And me too.
Right.
I look at my life and I see what is it that I need to do. No matter how okay I'm doing as a dad, I need to find new and inventive and intuitive and innovative ways to teach my children
And
and
keep your kids interested.
yeah,
New
new,
learning moments.
teach my family as well, teach the people around me, teach my loved ones, teach my brothers and my sisters. And
Oh, that a pillow is important.
yeah, finding a
I
pillow.
heard somebody complain that somebody got handed a pillow in the Hawaiian fires. I'm like, Hello? You want to sleep on the ground without a pillow? Really?
Yeah, a pillow.
A pillow's important.
It
I'm
is.
sorry, I learned a pillow's important.
Yeah, it is. And
And
we can lay on the pillow of peace. The pillow of peace. That's the thing we just came up with.
here's how I feel is that when I lay down at night and I lay on my soft pillow now that I have from you, because it is, my gosh, the softest pillow. I'm staring at it. I love this pillow. I've had a lot of pillows and cheap ones because I usually don't spend a lot of money on pillows. I used to. I used to
Yeah.
buy down pillows. Um, but here's what I'm going to leave you with is at night when I go to bed. I mean, I sincerely have a prayer and a talk with God. My kids think I'm crazy because I talk to myself a lot. But if they would ever just stop to listen to the words I'm really speaking, they would understand that I'm openly praying all day long. I'm talking to one person, and that's my Father in heaven and my Heavenly Mother. And that's who I talk to all day long. And so when I go to bed at night and I lay my head on that wonderful pillow you gave me, and I think, wow, I made it again. I don't know that I wanted to do that again, but I'm here and I'm going to keep being here until God doesn't want me here anymore, but I'm here. And I want to feel your arms around me, Dad. Heavenly Father, will you put your arms around me and just let me feel your peace? Just,
That's it. Right there.
I, I, I mean, they had me on all kinds of course, the first week because I was having huge flashbacks and feeling very trapped in fire is very frightening.
Yeah.
It's very hot. And
Yeah.
you imagine yourself um, going painfully. In fact, I don't know how I didn't because it was 3,000 degrees in that room. And I can swear to it because in the vase, there was a piece of paper in there and it's ash. And the firemen came in right after I got out and put the rest of the fire out. And I'm so grateful that he didn't allow me to get burned again.
At least not seriously. It's amazing that you
And
weren't.
I've suffered that way physically. I mean, I am hurting more, but I'm also grateful that I got to be a part of a miracle again to remind me miracles are possible.
They are.
And we're doing this for a reason. You
We
and
are.
I know what it is.
We do. And with
This is not a woo-woo life after death stories to give you goosebumps and
although that might happen.
might happen.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is it gives you another day to keep going.
And to remember you're loved, to remember that the object of our daily lives, if done purposefully, can end in peace. And that is something that I truly believe, that even in the darkest of moments, we can have at least some of that peace that's in there. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily any easier. It just allows you to be able to step up to those things. And so I just want to leave everyone with that, and that you are loved, and so are you, Renelle. I love you.
So are you, Mike. I love you and your wife, and I'm so grateful for your sweet little daughter who just sat there so sweet, like nothing was going on, but sitting around with old Grandma Renelle.
And she's been asking about you multiple times, even before the fire. She wanted to know you because you fascinated her, and so yeah,
I'm grateful to her. She made life normal. I'm happy.
Good.
She didn't give me the looks that a lot of people gave me when they came in the room.
Yeah, people don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, and so it's difficult to process those types of things, and even more for you. So I think that going and being able to care indiscriminately and to love, children have an ability to do it that is stronger in general than the adults. We've lost a lot of that ability, and so
we have.
It's important that we find those things, and I believe that we can, even in the hardest of times. And so you take care of yourself this week, and I'll talk to you probably offline a little bit.
Yes, because guess what? If anyone wants to listen again at 11 o'clock, and I forgot to tell you about this, we are going live again on X, which
tonight?
Used to be Twitter, tonight.
Oh, man. Well, here we go.
Whoops. Here we go again.
Yeah, here we go again. Hey, we're live again.
You're the host, right?
Yeah.
So
well, thanks everybody for watching, and you guys have a great week, and we'll see you
next week.
Soon. Next week at least.
Yep.
Goodbye.
This time with a real guest. We will have a guest.
Okay, we will have a guest. We'll find one. No, I think
I already know. I've already asked several. I have a list, and they've been waiting. Yep. They just wanted me to get out of the hospital and get feeling better.
Completely.
So
fair.
now I'm ready.
I think we're ready. So everybody,
okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hide your tatas and have a good night.
Bye.